This Good Morning Northwest Morning Sprint is brought to you by Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning.
All right, it is 6:53. Let's get you ready for your Monday here in the Morning Sprint. Olivia Roberts is following the murder sentencing of a North Idaho woman. But first to Mark Peterson with some wet weather as we start our work week.
No doubt, we do have a wet start. Your first alert weather. Boy, we take a snapshot of that radar. I-90 all the way over to Sprague. You're going to have some wet roads and then through Idaho. So allow for a little extra time. Take it easy. Now, we figure out what we have over the next 24 hours, and it's going to be those scattered showers pushing through the area, mainly, though, into North Idaho. And then we see them fire back up again for tomorrow morning.
Well, some level 1 and level 2 evacuation notices have been issued for a wildfire burning north of Wenatchee. It's called the Spokane Fire. According to Trooper John Bryant of the Washington State Patrol, the fire closed State Route 97A for some time yesterday at Spokane Canyon Road at Rocky Reach Dam. That road has since reopened. That fire continues to burn away from the road and up into the hills. The National Weather Service says the fire is burning with dry conditions and strong westerly winds. New this morning, more than 7,500 people have died from gun violence in the U.S. this year. That is 23% more than the same period in 2020, according to the Gun Violence Archive. Compared to 2019, it's a 40% increase. The Gun Violence Archive says there's been more than 200 mass shootings so far this year. This weekend alone, there were at least 12 across 8 states. At least 11 people died and 69 others were hurt.
In just hours, a convicted embezzler from North Idaho will be sentenced for her husband's murder. If she's convicted, Lori Eisenberg will face up to life in prison. It's a case that has drawn national attention. Eisenberg was serving time for stealing money from a local nonprofit before being accused of murdering her husband, Larry. His body was found in Lake Coeur d'Alene in 2018. Lori Eisenberg told investigators he had a medical episode, fell off their boat, and drowned. But an autopsy showed no signs of drowning and lethal levels of Benadryl in Larry's system. Judge Scott Wayman will sentence Eisenberg this morning. You can watch it live at 9 a.m. We'll be streaming it on KXLY.com, the 4 News Now Facebook page, and on our streaming app, KXLY+.
Well, some breaking news this morning. Pfizer has administered its first COVID-19 booster shots. The pharmaceutical company is studying a third dose of the vaccine and the pneumococcal vaccine candidate. The first participants receive their shots today. The trial is looking at safety when the vaccines are co-administered and will follow up 6 months after. Pneumococcal vaccines help prevent illnesses like pneumonia. 600 adults older than 65 are in this trial. Some will receive both shots. Others will receive one and a placebo. According to the CDC, we are halfway there when it comes to COVID vaccinations. 25 U.S. states have vaccinated at least half of its adults against COVID-19. That includes Washington, but not Idaho. Across the U.S., roughly 61.3% of Americans have had at least one shot, and 49.6% are fully vaccinated.
It's been 1 year since George Floyd was murdered at the hands of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. In the years since Floyd's death, a national dialogue on police reform has taken center stage. Massive protests launched a conversation about racial injustice and police reform. Fired Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was found guilty on all 3 murder and manslaughter charges. But 1 year after Floyd's death, substantial change in policing has been slow to come. President Biden has called on the Senate to follow the House and pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. However, Congress will not meet the president's deadline to pass it by the anniversary of his death.
You can catch some local flavor today on the Rachel Ray Show. Students at the WSU Creamery and the popular Cougar Gold cheese will be featured on today's episode. According to a release from WSU, Rachel and the show's producers were inspired to feature WSU's cheese-making process after a friend sent her a surprise gift of Cougar Gold. Coming up next on Good Morning America, new developments in the trial for the murder that shocked the nation. It's been nearly 3 years since Molly Tibbetts, an Iowa college student, was killed while jogging. Now, after the first week of testimony,